Hello gamers, it's SoftKitty99 and today we're in the creative builds world in Minecraft. In the last episode we started to build this motel-like hotel structure. It's a modular building so you can make it as big or as little as you like. And let's continue with where we got to, shall we? So we've put in the basic rectangular structure for the build space, and we're going to have 6 rooms on this wing and we're going to have 8 rooms on this wing. As you can see, it's all modular, so you can make it bigger or smaller. You could make it a big L shape, or you could just make it multiple blocks if you wanted, depending on how big a space that you have to fill. So for the front of the structure I thought we would make it slightly different. So what I want to do now is go back to the diorite. Now, because we don't have much space on the sides, I'm not going to add an extra layer on this side, but you might want to on your build if you have more space and you want it to have a bit more of a three-dimensional feel. So what I'm going to do is on the front of the build, I'm going to extend the diorite forward by 1 block on the edge of the structure. So all the way along on the outside of the build. This is going to take us just a few minutes to do this, so I'm going right around the edge of the build like so. And if I can get airborne, I'm also going to raise it up in the space between the rooms like so. I'm not going to do it on the cross piece because this is where we're going to have a walkway in order to get access to the upper rooms, and I think we'll do that in a different material. Of course, any of the materials I use in my build, if you want to build a similar structure, please feel free to substitute any of the materials for something different. So now you can see the difference between having that extra layer and not having that extra layer. It just adds a little bit. Now you have the choice, you can add it on all the sides, front, back, round, everywhere you want, depending on where you want the extra 3D, but I'm not going to do that on camera because that will just use up more of your time. So what I do want to do is to think about these structures of how we're going to add these walkways. Now on the interior of the rooms we're using all of this dark oak, but I think on the exterior we might want to use something just a tiny bit different. So I was thinking perhaps we would use spruce because it's a little bit lighter on the exterior. So what I'd like to do is grab some spruce, and we're going to want the slab, and now I'm running out of space to add things to my bar, so I'll remove the slab because we've got some here so I can pick those up again. Now on the front of these rooms you have to decide which end or which space you're going to want these stairs to be in, and then we want to put the, no, it would help if I selected the correct thing, the spruce slab. I'm going to want to run it all the way along. So at first we're going in between where we've just added that second layer of diorite, and then we're going to want to extend that forward by 3 in front of that. So that's 4 slabs in total across here like that, and we go all the way along the length of the build. Which again is going to take us a minute or two just to put all the blocks in place. So just to be very clear, it will be 3 blocks in front of where the diorite is and 4 at the side, all the way along to the opposite end of the build. Now when we get to this bit here, you're thinking, what are you going to do now, Kitty? Well, what I was thinking we would do is we would use the diorite to make a edge across the side here. And then at this end we're going to be adding stairs. But we're going to be doing it in the half slab. So right in front of here, what I would like to do is think about where we're going to put these stairs. How are we going to tilt them around? Right, so what we want to do is add the diorite across here first, so that it does make it look like there is some sort of support structure onto the stairs themselves. And then what we're going to do is we're going to bring this down to the floor, if I can get it in the correct spot. There we go, bring it down to the floor at both ends. Now of course if you were having an L-shaped building, you could take the walkway all the way around the build and only have one set of stairs. Because I'm making them as separate spaces, we're going to have to bring stairs around the side. So I'm thinking that I actually bring the stairs down the side here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a small extension using the spruce slabs. So I want to come across with a little 3x3, if I can put them in the space, a little 3x3 there, and then we'll bring the stairs down the side here, dropping it by half a block on each level as we come down. I'll show you this from the side once I've put them in. So half a slab at a time, and I think that will fit. There, perfectly fits along the length of my build. And then we're going to make that second layer, and then the third layer. So we've got nice wide stairs, so it's easy for people to get up and down. And then on this side here I'm going to use the diorite, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it a trying to figure out how we're going to do this. Right, so I'm going to make it little blocks of 4. So we want a little block 2x2 here, and then along the top of it we're going to start our second 2x2 block, and then on the top here we're going to make another 2x2 block, and we're going to keep doing that all the way to the top. So little 2x2 intersecting blocks till we get to the top here, and then I'm just going to extend it to the end, and then we're going to bring it down so that it's got support, and then you can add any support structures wherever you feel that it needs them. So I'm going to bring a support down there like so, and I'm going to leave it at that. So from the side this is what we've got. So we've got 2x2, another 2x2, another 2x2, another 2x2, another 2x2, and then when you get to the top walkway we've just got a little square, not a little square, a little rectangle on the top. And along this front here, this is what we wanted the iron bars for, because connecting to this diorite block here, we're going to run railings all the way along this walkway so that the guests don't fall off. If you don't think this looks substantial enough, instead of this end row of the spruce, you could run a row of diorite all the way along just to make it more substantial, but I thought that that just made it look too blocky, which is why I've done that. But of course please feel free to add more diorite, and you can put more supporting poles in if you want it to look much more substantial. So this is the walkway that we're adding on, and I will do the same on the other side, but I'll do that off camera because it just takes quite a long time to do it, and you already know how it's going to work. And that's the side like that. So there's the stairs, nice easy to get upstairs, and a nice long walkway along the front of the build. So what we want to do next is add in the fronts of the rooms and the backs of the rooms. Now we've used a lot of this dark material And we could use the same materials on the front and back of the rooms. I'm thinking it's starting to feel very, very dark and claustrophobic in there, so I think we need something a little brighter and lighter on these front spaces. So what do you think we should use? I was going to use the dark oak doors on the builds. So what I want to do is add in the door, I think, on this second block. Now we're going to do each of these rooms in the same way. So we start with the door, and then we're going to want the glass, which we've already got here. We've got the light blue stained glass panel, but I do think we need something a little bit lighter on the fronts. So if we look at the concrete and look at the different colours, everything's been black and light blue, so we've had a dark blue so far. So if we swap perhaps to a light blue instead of the dark blue, and we add in some very pale light grey as our other colour, I think this is what I'm going to go for the front and back of the rooms. So I want to use the grey as the contrast colour for where the windows and things are going to be. So I think we'll start with the back wall. If I can fly out, what I'd like to do is put a row of the light blue all the way around the edge, and let's see how much space do we have. So we can put a big double window in the centre, or we can put two small windows at either side, or we can put a big window in the centre, or you could leave all of that blank and put in a huge window. So that's the three ways that you can do this. I think what I would like to do is make two small windows at the two sides. So what I'm going to do above and below where the windows are going to be is put in the grey concrete. The reason I've showed you all the possible ways you can do it is so that you can decide which style of window you prefer for your build. And then I'm going to add the light blue stained glass in the centre. So that's the pattern that I'm choosing, and we're going to do that on all of the others. But like I said, there are other ways you can do it. So we could put two rows, I'm going to show you the other versions. We could put two rows along the edge here, then use our contrast colour above and below for sills on the window, and add a big window in the centre. So that's two ways you could do it. And the final one, you could add the light blue up and down on the edge, use the light grey for the ledge and sill for the window, and put a grey big window in the centre like so. So those are my three suggestions for the ways that you can put windows into this build. Show you them all quite nicely. There you go. So just use whichever one you prefer. And then for the space for where the door is, I would like to use the grey above where the door is, and let's match that on the other side with where a window is going to be, top and bottom, and add ourselves glass, and then use the light blue to fill in the rest of the front. Like so, and that is my suggestion for the front. let's just do that one more time. So we use the blue concrete at both edge. Then we add a door in this position, like so. Only I wanted to set that back. Set it back. So it's in the door itself is indented. Then we use the grey concrete above the door and at the side of the other blue here, where we add the window in the middle. And then we go back to the blue and we put 2 rows to fill in the gap, and that is the front of our room, and that's what we do on all of them. And then we're going to do the same on all the other rooms up here and downstairs and all over in that side as well. And then once we've done that, it will all look like this. And we're back now that I've added all of that extra stuff around the edges. So on all the fronts here we've got our doors, and I've added a lantern just in front of each of the doors on the diorite that now sticks out an extra level. So here is the front of the hotel on that side. Oh, missed a door. We've missed a door. That's why it's always worth double checking your builds, because you always want to make sure that you've added everything and not missed something. There we just missed out a door. And then on the edge of the stairs coming down, I've added lanterns all the way along the edge of the stairs so that it makes it easier for people to not fall down. And if you find something like this, you probably want to fill that in as well. So we've got the lanterns all the way down the stairs, and I've added all of the windows on the back of the build. A little bit difficult to see because of all these trees. So let's come this side. There you can see what I've done. I've just copied the 3 different patterns from the top down to the bottom, and my favourite one in the end as well over here. And then on the and I've added the 3-dimensional effect on the back of the build, but not on the side of the build. And then at the other side you can see we've started doing the same thing. I've added all the windows and lanterns and things at the front, and I've added the walkway. So we just need to add the iron bars around the edge so that our people don't fall off. Definitely don't want your guests to be falling off your walkways. That's a guaranteed way to get sued, so always make sure you've got lots of nice safety railings. And then as we come down the side here, let's grab our lantern again and put our lights on the edge of our stairs as we come down, just on the edges of each of these 2x2 blocks. Hello Mr. Sheep, what are you doing there? Let's put the lantern so you've got nice viewpoints all the way up the side there. And then on this other build I've started again here, but on the back I've made these different. So let me show you what I've decided to do here. So the first thing I've decided to do is put a door in, because I'm going to put balconies on the back of this side, because this side's got the beautiful view of the ocean, so this will be a great place for balconies. So I've decided to put a door in on the second block on the interior side. Then we want to grab our light blue concrete, that's quite hard to say, put a row up each side of the diorite, like so, and then in the middle put a double row, so that you've got 2 gaps at the side. And this one we've got a door in it, and above the door we're going to use the light grey concrete, so 2 blocks and then the door, and then in the other gap we're going to put the grey concrete at the top and the bottom, and then put our light blue stained glass pane in there, so that we've got this as the back of the room now. And as you can see, I've done that on all of the other ones over on this side. Now I need to swap back to my diorite, and I want to put on that extra 3-dimensional row of the diorite around the edge. Oh, the other thing that I've done is I've added the diorite along the bottoms of the walls as well, to make it a conforming structure. Does that make sense? So that all of the design looks the same around the edges. So we're just going to run the diorite all the way around top and bottom, but not across this middle row again. So let's run it all the way along, make sure we don't miss a spot, and we'll go down and do the bottom half in just a second. So this is then the three-dimensional effect and a bit of a supporting structure, and then we're going to make small balconies. They're not going to be huge, they're just going to be quite small ones, and then run the row up between, but don't do the two diagonal lines there and here, just the verticals in the very top one. Right, so last couple of blocks there, and now we want to add our little balconies. So again, I want to use the spruce slab, and I want to run 2 rows of the spruce slab coming out, and I'm going to run it over. So the first row is between the slabs of diorite now that we've got, so run to the end, and then we're going to overlap it at the edge here. You're going to see we're going to add the fencing, so if it goes one row over, we can add the fence so it connects to the diorite. So grab the iron bars again, so you see that nicely connects there, and then they've just got a tiny balcony to sit, well, not really to sit on, but to stand on and look out over the view. If you do want it big enough to add a seat, I think you'll probably have to make it one more wide. In fact, we might make the ones on the bottom level one block bigger, so that you can see the two different styles and decide which one you want. But just having a nice place to stand with a drink and have a chat with your people might be quite romantic. Right, so let's swap back to the spruce slab, and let's put the row in between on both levels. We're not going to give them access from the balconies out onto the sand, we're not going to be that nice. And then you put the second row where you would put the fencing, but if you then decide you want some seating, it would need to be slightly bigger than that. So what we'd need to do is make it one row even more to be able to add seating. Of course, if you add the extra row, it means it's not quite so private. And if we grab the dark oak stairs, we can put a little double seat underneath the window for people to sit. So I'm assuming that the rooms are probably going to be for 2 people. And then we add the fencing all the way along, and now you see you've got space for seating. So again, I'm giving you variations on what you can choose to build it like. So you can have the little balconies with the seating, or you can just have these stand-on balconies. And that again is the build. Let me just give you a view of the whole of the back there. So that's what it looks like. And there's with the side there. Zoom in and turn just a tiny bit so you can see it all. So that is what I've designed. And there we go, all the way to the side of the build so you can see the stairs. A little hard to see the windows at the back here. Let's go past the trees so you can see all the different designs of windows that I came up with here. And then back round to the other side so that you can see the view in the middle. I did talk about putting in a swimming pool, but I've actually built the rooms possibly a little bit too close together. So if you did want a swimming pool in a big open courtyard, just make the buildings a little bit wider apart so that that makes it easier. Might still manage to put in a small swimming pool, but I think what I'll do now is I'll leave the episode there with the build completed on the exterior. So if you want to decide how to do the interior for yourself and what extra little designs you want to do, that will be the end of it. But in the next episode I'll show you what I thought I would do with the interior of the rooms. Hope you've enjoyed today's episode. Please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. From Soft Kitty 99, goodbye and happy gaming!